All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we're going to ask the tough question. And we're going to ask that question, should you take the COVID-19 vaccine? We're going to ask the question, what is in the COVID-19 vaccine? And because most of you know that I'm a former disc jockey turned Oklahoma SBA Entrepreneur of the Year, I'm not a doctor. So I rounded up Dr. Jim Meehan and Dr. Christiane Northrup. Dr. Christiane Northrup, check this lady out. She's a 3-time New York Times bestselling author. She's a medical doctor. She knows her stuff. And Dr. Jim Meehan, M-E-E-H-A-N, he knows his stuff too. And on today's show, they're going to share with you why you will find fetal tissue, aborted fetal tissue, inside the COVID-19 vaccines. They're also going to explain to you this weird new technology called luciferase. You know, like the root word Lucifer? Luciferase that you can find inside the COVID-19 vaccines. They're also going to explain to you why the new COVID-19 vaccines have the ability to modify your RNA. And they're going to explain to you why Bill Gates just happens to own the patent for something called a cryptocurrency that is activated by body activity. Yes, it is a cryptocurrency activated by body activity with a patent number, a vanity patent number that he chose of W02020060606. Are you down with taking a vaccine that's filled with fetal tissue that can modify your RNA? That's called luciferase with a patent number W02020060606. Well, I'm not. The Clark family isn't, but on today's show we decided let's round up some moms. Let's round up some women that are raising families, and let's allow them to ask their questions about the COVID-19 vaccines directly to Dr. Christiane Northrup and Dr. Jim Meehan. And so that's what we do on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. But I encourage you, please grab a pen and a pad and take notes about everything they're saying. Verify it. And then on today's show notes, you're going to find page after page of documentation to show that what they are saying is in fact true. All this and more on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we've all been told we can't go back to normal until there's a COVID-19 vaccine. We can't go back to normal until there's a COVID-19 vaccine. Well, I started looking into the COVID-19 vaccine, and I found this incredible doctor, Dr. Christiane Northrup, and she recorded a video sharing what's inside the vaccines, and I thought, this is truly terrifying. And with that, Dr. Christiane Northrup, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm very good. And let me tell you, nobody knows exactly what's in the Pfizer vaccine, what's exactly in the Moderna vaccine. What we do know is we've seen patents, and we know that we have the technology. The Microsoft Foundation has the ability to store an incredible amount of data in DNA. And we do know that there are human lung fibroblasts from a 14-week-old male Caucasian fetus in the Pfizer vaccine, but it doesn't say that on the label. It says MR5. And you go and you look, oh, that's what these are. These are fetal lung fibroblasts. They're in the 7th generation. So the longer you culture these, the more chance that they'll have something that you don't want in them. I also learned from my good friend, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, that these vaccines may have, canine kidney cells. They might have insect parts. We don't really know. It's frightening.
Now, with Dr. Jim Meehan, you're here with us as well.
Yes, I
and
am.
You're sort of our local, can you explain your medical background there, Dr.
Well,
Jim
I'm
Meehan?
an ophthalmologist by training with specialty training in ocular inflammation, immunology, and infectious disease. I'm also trained in preventive medicine, functional medicine, and integrative medicine. And what Dr. Northrup is saying is absolutely true. There are so many ingredients in these vaccines. The MRC5 cell line is an aborted fetal cell line that was harvested in the 1960s in a way that is absolutely horrific. The Corvelva Institute in Italy has looked at these the genome of all the DNA that's in a lot of these vaccines, and we are finding that not only are these aborted fetal cell lines contaminating our vaccines, but they are over the years where the cell line has been replicating endlessly in vats and pharmaceutical manufacturing sites, but in the process of replicating, it is actually mutating, it's getting aberrations in DNA, and there are now about 570 tumor genes that are present in these aborted fetal cell lines.
You're being negative. I'll go back to Dr. Northrup here.
Yeah. When we're talking about this topic, we're not talking enough about the negative.
Listen here. Negative. Unbelievable. Dr. Northrup, perhaps you could one-up him with your bio, because he has quite an impressive bio and career history. Can you tell us a little bit about your background before we allow our guests to begin asking you questions?
Yes, I'm a board-certified OBGYN, did my residency at Tufts New England Medical Center. I'm the author of 3 New York Times best-selling, whatever they are, women's health Bibles. I did 8 very highly successful public television specials. I was on the Oprah Winfrey Show 10 times. I've won one of her Super Soul 100s. And my favorite of all time, in 2013, I was named one of Reader's Digest's most trusted people in America. But I think that was before the COVID times.
Oh, yeah, before
they changed their mind
fact-checkers.
now, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think they've changed. Oh, whoa.
Well, we have 5 kids, my wife and I, and so I'm going to allow my wife, Vanessa, to hop onto the microphone, and so she can ask you a few questions that she has, again, from the perspective of moms and parents who care about their kids. Vanessa, we'll go to you.
Well, you already answered my main question, which was going to be asking about if there was, in fact, aborted fetal tissue in the vaccines, because that's so concerning to me just on a, I guess, moral level about what we're injecting into, our children or into anyone, into any human being.
Right.
But you also mentioned that there's also animal cell lines as well, correct?
That is correct, as far as we know. And here's the thing. There have been animal cell lines in the other vaccines, and we've never had a successful mRNA vaccine. The last one we tried was for the swine flu, and that sickened a lot of people, gave many children narcolepsy in Europe. It killed at least 300 people, and they finally said, oh, whoops, guess that didn't work. So we've never had a successful mRNA vaccine, and this works by transfection. It's the same way that they make GMO seeds. And so there's scary parts of it because it's connected with all this technology you never hear about. One of my most chilling is that there's an enzyme in many of these vaccines, or it's part of the plan, called luciferase. And this is a bioluminescent dye, and you'd be able to tell who had what vaccines by just passing a light over their arm or wherever. And I just listened to a very chilling thing yesterday. I think it was from West Point several years ago, where they said we have the ability to make human drones. We have the ability to put imagery in DNA. We have the ability to control humans from afar. Wow. By the technology they have available.
Did you just say the technology is called luciferase?
I did, and you just go online. By the way, don't use Google. You'll never find anything. You got to use DuckDuckGo, Brave, Opera, one of those other suits. Just go for luciferase, and you'll find the patents.
What I did on today's show is I have cited everything that I've seen you say on previous interviews. So I put links to this, and I just want to make sure people understand the name luciferase. I don't know about you, Dr. Jim. Are you a biblical scholar? The idea of Lucifer.
I'm not a biblical scholar, but I am a follower of Christ, and I can tell you that the enemy uses all this symbolism in everything that he does, and the fact that this luciferase would be even named that, and it would be considered as a possible ingredient in these vaccines is to me exposing the enemy's hand in all of this.
Unbelievable.
Well, and also the patent from March 26, 2020. The patent number from Bill and Melinda Gates is 060606, and that is a patent to connect human biometric data with cryptocurrency, which to me comes dangerously close to the Matrix.
Okay, Vanessa, back to you.
Yeah, this is kind of a, I don't know if you'll have the answer to this question. It's just kind of something that's I'm just wondering about. I was listening today as I was driving, and they're talking about the one of the vaccines coming out, because I guess there's 6 right now coming to market. And I thought, how weird is that? What a coincidence. How does that happen that all 6 companies are all ready to go to market at the same time? Do you have any inside knowledge on this, or what could be possibly going on that all, they say it takes years to get a vaccine ready, and yet all 6 are ready at the same time? What's going on with that?
I have no idea, but I have a gut feeling that Operation Warp Speed is not quite what we think it is.
Yeah, that's what
And
came to my mind
I
as
believe
well.
that, in fact, I think one of the most amazing things that happened during all this is that when Trump said, "This is my vaccine, Operation Warp Speed," suddenly we got a whole lot of the population waking up about vaccine safety in general. You know, so, whoa, I'm not going to take the Trump vaccine. And I wanted to say to them, guess what, kids? All those others, of those other 69 CDC recommended and now mandated vaccines for children, not one of them has been proved absolutely safe, not one. And they're being given 6 at a time. The autism rate used to be about 1 in 10,000, and not so very long ago, and now it's 1 in 32.
1 in 32 children now has autism, and it used to be less than 1 in 10,000 kids had autism. And again, this is just terrifying stuff. And I want to make sure we're recapping because everybody needs to look this up. If you go to timetofreeamerica.com, and you click on the truth about the COVID-19 vaccines, and you click there on the button, you'll see this. Again, it's called, the technology is called luciferase. Think about that, luciferase. The patent number that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has chosen to go with is 060606. It is a cryptocurrency attached to body activity, and we're just supposed to take it, Dr. Jim, and say, oh, that makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense. Now, this is what I want to do here is we have a lot of women who come into your office, Dr. Jim, and they have concerns about vaccines. And so we've rounded up some great ladies here from the, not that men don't care about their kids. I think men just care about their kids slightly less. So we wanted to round up some women so that way the women can ask great questions because they're a lot of times taking the kids to doctor's appointments. They're the ones taking them to the medical appointments. And so, Vanessa, did you have a final question before we get our next guest on the show?
No, that's it. I did want to kind of pile on with the vanity ID number, of the 060606. If you notice in front of it, I think it's a WO060. And so I'm thinking in my mind that's World Order 060606, just because we know that there's these documents out there talking about the new world order that they're trying to bring in and all that. So
I put a link to everything that so far Dr. Northrup has said on today's show notes, and we'll go ahead and have our next guest come on up here. And when you come on the show, if you can introduce your first name and last name, and then ask as many questions as you want here. And Dr. Northrup, we'll see if we can overwhelm you with questions that people from all over the country have here. So here we go.
Love it.
And ma'am, are you a mom?
I am.
And how many kids do you have?
I have 4.
4 kids. Okay, so what's your first and last name, and what question would you have for Dr. Northrup?
Okay, so my name's Ashley Westfall. I have a question. Okay, so I am totally 100% against the vaccine. Like, I don't want it in my body. I don't want it in my children's body. What can I do to protect us in the sense of, I'm just hearing all these things, like we'll be forced into them to be able to travel or to be able to go to school or to be able to do things. And what can I do to protect?
I'll tell you what you can do. It's what I'm doing. I'm starting to have weekly meetings in my home. The most radical thing you can do at this time is get together with your neighbors. How do you find out who's open to this? You just ask your friends. You say, hey, what do you think about the vaccine? And if they say, oh, I'm going to get it, then you go next. Or you go up to someone without a mask in the grocery store. Hey, what do you think of the vaccine? By the way, I'm having a meeting over at my house, and why don't you come? We're all signed up with a group called Make Americans Free Again. This group is out of Ohio, Dr. Pam Popper, and she is with the best legal minds in the world. We are creating a master lawsuit that is going to force these governors, these tyrants, to prove that there is an ongoing state of emergency. And this state of emergency is all trumped up with PCR tests that are a lot of false positives. The cycles of replication of this virus need to be less than 35 to even tell you, is anyone infectious and dangerous? The test kit I just found out for our state they're using from the FDA has 45 replication cycles, which means even Anthony Fauci has said, this is only going to show you a couple of dead nucleotides.